there's a big elephant in the room called population.
Okay.
We don't talk enough about population. You see, we have limited resources as a country.
Yes.
And yet we have allowed our population to just grow.
Welcome to the Affirmative Action Table. Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Would like you to introduce yourself and really tell us why has the National Government Affirmative Action Fund opened an Affirmative Action Table?
My name is Rachel Musyoki, the current chairperson for National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and I'm glad that we are having this conversation. Affirmative Action Table, this is a table that we want to bring in everybody on board because we have very many policies from different angles, and having this table, we are giving an opportunity for all stakeholders to come together so that we have it discussed on this table so that we get a way forward together. Discussions that take place on the table enable people raise the different issues, enable people come up with different solutions, so we can only achieve the better that the President has been advocating if we come together and discuss these issues.
Thank you. And by NGAF opening this table, what are the priorities of NGAF? What are the programs that NGAF does for the affirmative action groups? Okay.
One, National Government Affirmative Action Fund is a fund that is domiciled in all our 47 counties. It's a fund that we've put it under the women representatives of this country.
My name is Esther Basaris. I am the Nairobi County Women Representative. They call us Mama County, they call us County MP, but in essence we're members of Parliament under the Affirmative Action. And we thank those who put the Constitution together and said that we need to have women and we need to create special seats for women. So of course we compete women to women, and we bring 47 women into the National Assembly to be representatives of the people, but it's an affirmative seat.
We have worked very closely with the women rep, who are the pioneers on the ground who pass this vision. And you can see as NGAF we've tried to build GBV centers, and like Nairobi now has the best example in the country, Safe Haven. And what we need to do as leadership is to empower our women, ensuring that they raise their voices, ensuring that when they raise their voices of the issue that they have gone through, we are able to trust. And also, as we have these conversations of empowering the women, the men must also be there. We cannot leave them out of this discussion, because you cannot advocate for GBV if you take one direction and you leave others behind. So this is something that has to bring all of us together. The women, the boy child, the girl child, and even the men.
That poverty makes girls and women more vulnerable to gender-based violence.
Yes.
Because I've seen a lot of girls who we have rescued or we work with that would have to take up the opportunity or the chance to do what we call transactional sex, give this man their body in exchange for something which is a basic need. And it's not just education, it is sanitary towels, it is shelter, it is food, you know, it's these things that I honestly think that are very fundamental, and every girl should get that, should be like given right from birth. But when I was quitting school, that was like early, now towards like April, May in 2005. I'm still a teenager, and I have to get an abortion because there's no way I was gonna carry that child. There's no way. I mean, I had that,
Yes.
which almost killed my life because it was unsafe. But luckily, got help. But a lot of teenage girls who are abused end up going for abortion, which is criminalized in this country, right? So I'm just trying to paint a picture of the struggles of teenagers from my story,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so at this point, I was like, there's nobody who's there for me.
Nairobi has a lot of poverty, a lot of informal settlements because the city has grown so quickly and we've not been able to give enough housing. And a lot of people come to the city looking for hope. Devolution has been great. It would have been worse without devolution. It's been great, but we still have an influx of people in the city that are completely living below the poverty line. And that makes the demands on affirmative action much, much higher with the challenges post-COVID,
Yes.
with the challenges of crowding, with the challenges of health, the strains on various sectors, whether it's education. We end up with a big basket that needs our attention. So it's good to have the Affirmative Action Fund,
Yes.
but it's never enough.
I see you're leading the charge to ensure we have a whole community approach. In leading that charge, and we know that you actually, at your table, there is the approval for the Women Economic Empowerment programs. At your table is the approval for the access to education. Because a lot of what we see for young children, young teens, young girls, is they sell themselves to be able to access some of these basic needs, and not willingly selling themselves, but really it's actually an approach that if I must survive, I must do this and that. Within our programming, within the NGAF programming, the affirmative action, critically, what are we saying to the community out there? And what are we saying to the partners as we welcome them to the affirmative action table?
What we are trying to say is these problems are there, these problems have been there, but if we join hands together, we shall be able to, if not addressing them 100%, we shall be able to address them. We've seen our girls do things that are unimaginable, unthinkable things. But what we are trying to tell them is they should come out, look for support. We have leadership up to the grassroots, as I have said. If it's not the women rep, we have the ward administrators, we have the sub-county administrators, we have the MCA's officers, if not the MPs. So the communities must know where to go and air their problems.
The relationship between teenagers and their parents is that I feel there are three critical things that we have to talk about when you're working with teenagers. The first one is on comprehensive sexuality education.
Okay.
Young people need to know about their sexuality. And this goes a long way. Like, it needs to be age appropriate, delivered by trained persons or people who are trusted, because they need that knowledge and information to help make choices, informed choices.
There's a big elephant in the room called population.
Okay.
We don't talk enough about population. You see, we have limited resources as a country.
Yes.
And yet we have allowed our population to just grow. And we've not been able to provide adequate education, hope, infrastructure, health, for food, for that jobs, for that population. So there's a lot of hopelessness, but that is still not an excuse. No matter how frustrated, how depressed you are, it's not an excuse to attack or defile or rape or sodomize somebody. And for me, I think we need to talk population. We also need our legislation to work.
Yes.
We need to make sure that perpetrators don't get away.
We support the victims and survivors is to ensure that we have programs that will empower them economically, bringing them together to share their stories and motivating one another. And also, as an organization, it is my belief and vision that we shall be able to bring as many partners on the table as possible. And I know many partners have different programs that can empower these girls. And that is why we are bringing this table to all the stakeholders, because I know there's so much that we can do for these girls. You know, there are different programs. These girls, most of them are talented. It's just a matter of us sitting with them, finding out what it is that they want to be supported on. Because what we know is the funding that we have as NGAF cannot be enough for every program. Join hands with partners and stakeholders and hear the voices of these girls. We shall be able to do something for them, so that we may be remembered to having done something good for the generation.